Hello, welcome to Lessons Learned. I'm Sherry. This is your Wednesday video. Today I'm going to be just doing something normal for me on a Wednesday. It's not a tutorial, but I am going to be making the latest designer mystery block from Fat Quarter Shop. You saw me receive this here a couple weeks ago, probably about a week ago actually. If you're not familiar with this particular one, it's using Corey Yoder's Bloom fabric. And I'm not going to take this all apart, but these are how the blocks are shaping up. And I have been doing the finishing pattern on it each time, which is helping tremendously. I don't know if in this video I will get an entire, with the finishing and everything done, but I will at least be getting this well underway. Hopefully I'll get it done while we're together today. But not a tutorial, but I'm just going to kind of chit chat about what I'm doing, what my methods are, the way I kind of like to do these things, just the habits that I have when I do one of these. So let's get started. While the iron is warming up, I'm just going to take a look right quick at the fabrics here and also the pattern. I'm going to unfold all of these. Let me push you back just a little bit so you can see me a little better. Okay, hopefully that's a good angle for you. Okay, hopefully that's a better angle for you to see me and see what I'm doing. Okay, Blue, go sit down. He just took a big drink of water. Now he wants to say hello again. You want to say hello to the people? Look here. There he is. Looks like a fish out of water, doesn't he? I don't know what you want. You got wet feet and I don't want your wet feet on me. I don't want your wet feet on me. Okay, here we go. I'll help you up. There you go. Lay down. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is take a look through this, unfold my fabrics. I've got the iron warming up, so I'm going to go ahead and open these up because I will be pressing them. Looks like we have 4 fabrics this time. That's pretty typical. 3, 4, 5, something like that. Another piece of background. And I usually like to iron them on the back side. I think that's from my fear of spitting irons, although I don't put water in my iron anymore. So let's take a look at this. It's called Silver Lining. It finishes at 12.5 by 12.5. It's by Heather Briggs. So it looks like we have to make the little rounded corners first, and then we make some flying geese 2 different ways. You make it inverted with the dark fabric, so you have some flying geese that are white in the middle and some flying geese that are the dark brown in the middle or gray. So let me go ahead and get these. Yeah, it just makes 1, 2, it makes 4 of one kind and 4 of another kind of little section, and then a middle section. So pretty easy, pretty easy. So here is the cutting that has to be done in here first. That's on the first page here, this page right here. And usually what I do to keep myself straight is I take a pencil over to the cutting table and I check off each one as I do it. Because with a block of the month, although Fat Quarter Shop has a lot of extra fabric in their blocks of the month kits, I don't want to waste fabric if I don't have to, right? So let me get to ironing these first. I just use plain water in a mister bottle. That was easy enough. So I look at this list on page 2 of the cutting instructions, and I look at what kind of rulers I'm going to need to cut with. So I think I'm going to probably need my longest ruler, because I'm dealing with fat quarters, and they are 22. Well, they're not all fat quarters, but this right here is, it looks like, yeah, this is a 22-inch stretch of fabric here. And then I probably will need this one. This is my favorite one. If I only had to buy 2 rulers, and that's all I could ever use, I would buy this 8.5 by 24 by Quilter Select, or this 6 by 12 by Quilter Select. These 2 rulers are the ones I go to the most. I do have other ones, but these are the ones I use the most for piecing. So there's a little hint for you. I'm going to turn these over to the right side for cutting, and put if they have a selvage, I'm going to put that on my line, one of my lines here on my cutting table, and get that very straight. Blue, do you want to go outside again? You go right ahead. Thankfully, I'm able to move from one side of my table to the other, so I don't have to do some weird acrobatics with a rotary cutter in my hand. So there we go. I got me a very nice straight edge there. Now from here on out, I'm just going to use the lines on my ruler to do things with on this piece of fabric right here. I'll do the same thing to probably this big one and the others too. So let's see. My first one is A. I need 4 of these. Let's see. A through D. Okay, here's a tip for you. Up here you have your fabric colors, and then down here underneath each one you have which letters to cut. So I'm going to go ahead and put a big line where these go. See that? So I put A through D is 1, E through I is 1, J and K, and then L. That's my 4 different fabrics. If I don't do that, then I will cut the wrong fabric, the wrong size. So that's just what I do. So first of all, I'm going to do this. I only need 4 of those. I think I might do a 4.5 or a 3.5. There's a lot extra here. I probably can't really mess it up. Let's just do the 2.5 and see how far that gets me. I'm not going to be sharing the measurements on this block. I need a board and some letters so I can mark my pieces. I'm using these because I have my others on another board. So it's nice to have a couple of different kinds of marking pins or clips or something, alphabetties, to be able to mark with if you've got several things going at the same time. So this is A. So I'm going to put an A in that one. Okay, let's go on to B. I'm going to mark this one off. I did A. Okay, I need 4 of these. If I got a long piece like this, sometimes I will just cut the selvage off that one end if it has one. And then just cut 2 at a time. So this is not a great big span, yes, I am going to do acrobatics for my straight cut there. Okay, how many more of these do I need? 2 more. Okay, so that's C. Okay, what's D? So I almost got double the fabric. So I'm going to put this aside. Might be using that for a future thing, or my bloom panel. I don't know if I'm using too much of that push plain white in those bloom panel ones. I think maybe I do. We'll see. Let me look. Let me look. Oh yeah, well, no. These ones I just use, well yeah, I do use white in those. So yeah, did I show you or was it too high? See, so I'm using like the extra white in these. So my hope is that with each of these blocks of the month that I'm doing, each block I'll have enough left over to do that one little twirly block for the setting pattern on a bloom panel. Okay, so now I go to my dark color. Okay, so this is going to be, I need a middle square, and on each end it's a square, the middle of the block, right dead center in the middle. These ones have more color to them, but the one in the very center is complete. So I think I'm going to cut that one out because I know from the other measurements from this fabric, I'll have enough around it to get those. So I'm going to cut this little dude out right here. I was looking at my fussy cut rulers and I don't have one that's that size. And I don't think I have a 4.5. Let me see. I do have a 4.5. So I can just sit this right on here. And the middle of that would be See, 2, 2, it'll be right there. It's marked on the ruler what the center is. So that's what I want to do. Seems like a waste, but for a really pretty block, the impact is worth it to waste a little fabric. And I am doing acrobatics to be able to do this. Just be careful if you do that. Okay. Little bitty. Little bitty corners that I didn't get cut. Let me see if I can get them cut. There. There we go. That'll be cute in the center. So I'm not going to put my pen on that one. I know that's J. And then K. Well, let's do it just for continuity's sake. And then I need some smaller squares out of this. And I might just go right down here through here. Let's see if I can get it. See if it's straight enough and wide enough. I believe it is. So let's just do this. So here's my extra fabric for the other project. Hopefully that'll be enough to do something with. And then let me turn this over, straighten that edge out. This is just 2. I usually stack no more than 3 or 4 at a time. Although, you know, your OFA cutter, if you're nice and steady, it will cut through more than that, like 6. And I won't say I've never done it, I have. But if I'm really trying to get sharp on my accuracy, I try not to stack them up too high because they'll kind of twist on you. Okay, there's my L. Put that there. And we are done with the cutting. Back at the sewing machine. I just want to let you know, here's my board with all my pins in it, with the letters corresponding to the pieces, and vice versa. I brought this back over. That way I can put my pins back in as I let these loose. And you'll see on my pattern, I've got it all marked up there. Sections first and then checks. I didn't miss anything. So now on to page 3, which is, looks like we're going to be doing some little stitch and flips. Some little tiny ones. So I need to get my machine ready here. I have it turned on, but I need to set the stitch length and all of that stuff that I like to do. I usually sew with a 1.8 on this Brother PS500 machine. My bobbin's pretty full and I've got plenty of thread up top. And I could stand to changing my needle. Should I do that? I'm just going to wait. Procrastination. I shouldn't do that, should I? Okay. We need to draw a diagonal line on the wrong side of fabric I. That's these teeny tiny pieces. Do I really need to put a line on those? I think I can eyeball it. But if you're not too good on straight, you might want to put your line on there like they said. And then we need to add them to the K's, which are these. And how many of these do? We do 4. I don't have my seam tape on here right now, but this is only about 1 inch I think I can make it with the marks on the machine bed. I go a thread width towards the outside if I did mark a line. So my imaginary line, I'm going 1 thread width away towards the corner, the outer corner. Okay, before I cut these, I kind of give it a test to see, is it lined up pretty good? Is it going to be square once I cut that back side off? I see a little bit of back sticking out, but I think it's okay. I feel pretty confident about these. I'm going to run over and press these. There we go. So I'm going to add this brown little strip here and then something else across here. 2 strips. 1 strip this way and 1 strip this way. Do that to all 4. So I got these 4 done. I got the side and the top on that one. And now there's one more thing we do to this. In this dark spot, there's another little white. Let me see what number it is. B. Yeah, B. There's the little white ones. One of those goes here as a stitch and flip, like this. Like that. And then that's how it kind of gives that little curve that we saw in the picture. See? So I need to put those on. Iron those. And then we move on to another section that we add to this with the white. So let me do the white sections and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. I got all 4 of these done. Now on to the flying geese. So I have a set that looks like this and a set that looks like this. So they're just inverted from each other. I'm going to make all of these up just the normal flying geese way and iron them and get them ready to be put into the block. We're getting very close. All the flying geese are done and they measured out perfectly. So basically with these, all I have to do is stack them like that. I'll take one with the dark on the bottom and the other one with the dark on the outsides and sew those together, and that will make the other part of our block that's missing. So let me do that and we'll put those in place, then we'll be ready to put the block together. I also wanted to mention, in the case of the flying geese, that I did draw the line on the little squares for the flying geese because it was a farther stretch for me to just eyeball that. So that probably contributed majorly in getting them to come out to the right size. But you can see here now I have them together and ready to be used in the block. I have 9 pieces of my block. All I have to do is connect these pieces in 2 rows, into 3 rows, and then connect those 3 rows. And then that'll be the end of constructing the block. That is what I got in the mail. So come back on Friday and you'll see the finishing on it. But first, let me go ahead and get this together so you can see the whole block complete. Okay, here it is. Isn't it lovely? Everything matched up pretty well. Not perfect, but good enough for my standards. Accurate cutting, accurate 1/4 inch, you know what I say. And then good ironing. The only thing I do different, I follow the instructions for which direction to iron or to press your seams. I follow whatever it says with the little arrows here, except when I do those two across the back, I always open those up because it just makes such a thump on the long arm when there are seams that are, so many seams that connect, and that's one area where I can kind of head off some of that thumping and all of that going on with the long arm. But that might help you too if you do free motion on your sewing machine as well. Open up your seams as much as you can. It's just easier for me to follow the directions that they have. A lot of patterns do have you do it to one side or the other, like press towards the dark or whatever, and I just go ahead and choose that if I'm following someone else's pattern, because I figure they have a good reason for doing it. So this is the only time that I don't, right across here with my rows. And I used a little bit of starch pen on those as well, and I've starched and trimmed my block. And then when I add those other pieces on, the finishing pieces, I'll go back and starch those areas as well. But to come back on Friday so you can see that part finished, you'll see the entire block with the finishing done. And maybe I'll be starting to put together a couple of rows, because I have, this is number 6, I have 6 blocks. And there's 3 in a row, so I could actually put together 2 rows of the Designer Mystery Block of the Month from Fat Quarter Shop. I'm not sure why that's not coming through. There we go. So I've done several of these over the years, not every one, but they're not that difficult usually. And a different designer for each block. You're going to get a variety of difficulty, but none of them are really all that difficult. I think they take that into account when they put the kits together, is they want it to appeal to as many people as possible. So I think it's a really good balance, you know, of super easy, intermediate, not difficult, but, you know, somewhere like, what do they call that? Beginner, advanced beginner, or something like that. So that's kind of where they fall. So if you're doing this block of the month, maybe you could take this video and sew along with me to get yours finished pretty soon. And if not, then I hope you enjoyed this video anyway, and maybe heard some tips and tricks that will help you out. All right, have a great rest of your week, and I will see you on Friday for Finish It Friday. Bye.